Hey everybody, it's Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific, and we're the Reformers and we're live with y'all again and kind of just going over all the shit that happened this week. We're starting with TSA here because that's pretty much dominated the discussion, the news cycle. Like basically when did he announce it? He announced it like over the weekend that they were sending ICE to the airports.
Yes.
And then so boom, Monday morning, we saw like early ICE arriving early to these airports, and then everyone was realizing that it quickly caught on that, wait, ICE is getting paid and the TSA agents are not. And then we saw these pictures of these guys just chilling. And then ICE still worked. I know what was really funny, like also right away you saw people chasing ICE with cameras trying to take pictures of their faces. And ICE was literally running.
Can I just say, and I did say this, but I'm going to reiterate this because I don't think it can be emphasized enough. If I had gone to an airport and waited in line for multiple hours with my two children, both under the age of 9, like both one with ADHD, both autistic, and my husband, and you made me stand in line for hours, and then I show up and there's these ICE agents just hanging out, cracking jokes with each other, drinking their Fanta water, I would lose it. I would lose my day. Everybody that's at the airport that's waiting in these long lines, God bless you all, because you have the emotional regulation. I could never. I would be so mad. That's appalling. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, but I would absolutely be livid.
Did he ever say what they were supposed to do? Because
no.
They haven't done anything. They're just standing around.
No, they don't have any, they've admitted that they haven't been given any directives.
Right.
And so they just showed up to terrorize people. And they're getting in the way, if anything. They're probably slowing down lines. And I just can't, the anger I would feel having to wait. Because some people are waiting 6 hours. 6 hours to go through security is madness.
Let's show this one woman.
Are doing the work. That's my message. You want to be treated. You are not in these long lines. You're not standing outside. You do not have small babies. We need you to get your act together so that these people can get back to work, get paid as they should be, because they are doing the work. That's my message.
Yesterday was 6 hours.
Yesterday was 6. You gave up. You came back?
Yeah, we don't have a choice. I'm a prisoner here.
Okay. You're just waiting. Just waiting. Okay. All right.
This is horrific.
Horrific, he says.
We started up here and they guided us down all the way down to the subway area. We circled around there. I think we went all the way over to C area. And then we circled all the way back and came back upstairs, and we made it to this point, and they shut down security. So there's the line right there. We could get in right there, but we can't get through.
I'm just trying to get home.
That was the one I sent you last night.
All our money.
Listen to this guy. He cracks me up.
Get through.
I'm just trying to get home. We spent all our money. It's stressful. We had to book a hotel. I don't know.
So against that backdrop, Senate
we don't have to listen to Trump, but
the one I sent you last night on TikTok and she's a pretty big time influencer she's got like 500,000 followers, and I'm totally blanking on her name. I'm so sorry. So if you remember, please tell me. But she goes up at the airport, she waits in the longest line, and then as she gets closer, they did exactly that. They shut down the line and they didn't tell anybody. So they're just standing there in a line that's going to nowhere. Then they do find a way to work them back in. But some people left that line and had to go back to the beginning. So number one, the way I would lose my mind. But then she got on the flight and was sent to LaGuardia, and then they had to redirect her flight back to Atlanta. So then she never went anywhere. She literally stayed at the airport and sat in those lines for like 8 hours, went on her flight, got all the way there, got turned back around, and had to go back home and wait until Tuesday for a flight. I mean, that would be my 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th reasons. I could not. That's too much.
No.
I would lose my shit.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, the thing is, everyone's probably the videos I have seen, people have been very calm, like very
Yes.
calm. Like these poor people we were just showing obviously had been like 6-hour line or 4-hour line. Listen to this woman. Now this is a special terminal at LaGuardia. I don't know the name of it, but that's why it's not crowded.
Speak directly to Congress or President Trump, what would you tell them right now?
My true reaction is stop the run the country and make everybody a part of it.
It seems unnecessary, unrelated. Also, kind of seems like he's trying to push an agenda through, a place where people are just trying to get from point A to point B.
Just for the record, if anyone doesn't know, that's Marine Terminal at LaGuardia. It's not the regular terminal, which gets completely clogged with people. So that's why it might seem a little empty.
So for a little
America's airports. This line in Atlanta showing people lined up around midnight for flights leaving this morning. I've been here almost 2 hours.
3.5 hours to get to that. We might not make it. My flight is boarding right now. Oh no.
That little girl's like, oh no.
Oh no.
Like my iPad is running out of battery. Like running out of juice. We're gonna have a problem. I don't know, you guys.
Yeah.
One thing that may be complicating matters. Brenna Perez, pretty big creator on TikTok and everything, was just on a flight and said that she observed that this might be a toilet paper kind of thing where, people are assuming that they're going to have to wait a really long time. So instead of going the normal 2 hours before your flight, you're going 6 hours before your flight, but then you're getting ahead of people that need to be on the flight that's 2 hours away. And so part of it could be people just changing their patterns of when they would go, which is true. Which is further complicating things.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that airports are more crowded early in the morning, and like as the day goes on, they're better.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like ridiculous. Like, imagine being in these multi-hour lines and then still missing your flight. Like that's where I would lose it. It's like,
nope.
Like what a waste of time.
And the fact they can't rebook you right away because of everything, and just I would like to stress. It's one thing if you're a single person, but there are people who have families, babies, children. Wow. Like that's or any kind of disability. Like this is a nightmare. This isn't Disney World, okay? These are airports, and we don't want to rush through security, right? We don't want to. This is where you don't want to drop the ball here. This is not like, oh, I just won't go on Space Mountain this time. Like this is real life in a situation that has like life and death implications, and these ICE agents are just like there for no reason. Once again, Trump overstepping his authority, Trump just deciding that he's going to do things that don't make any sense, that unless you are trying to actively expand executive power, which is really what, this is all about, him getting more power for himself ultimately and trying to make the Democrats look bad. And so as of tonight, 11 times, right? 11 different times that the Democrats have brought forward a bill to fund TSA and the rest of the Department of Homeland Security, just not ICE.
The 11th one was today, earlier today.
Yes. Yeah. And this is how badly, the biggest kink that Republicans have for terrorism, because obviously they want ICE more than they want you to be protected at the airport. That's literally it. That's a compromise. The Democrats brought forward a compromise. This is like the adult thing to do, is to sign this bill and get these people paid. But instead, they're like, nah, like we're just can't do that.
I remember like a decade ago, Adam Conover on his show, Adam Ruins Everything, had a show about how porous airport security is in the best of times. Mm-hmm. And it strikes me that we are currently in a war, and we are currently in a war with a country that cannot hurt us militarily, but certainly could hurt us otherwise. And if you saw the newest AI video that propaganda video that Iran released that has the warhead going into a mock-up of the Statue of Liberty. Have you guys seen this one?
No.
It is extremely effective propaganda because it shows Iran is going to be the retribution for all peoples of the world that have been harmed by the US. And it starts with Native Americans. It then goes to Japanese at Hiroshima, Vietnam, Yemen. And so if I were looking to do something, it certainly would be a lot easier if I were working with TSA agents that were covering double shifts, that were tired, that were overworked, that were not wanting to do their best job because they haven't been paid in all this time. It certainly is a confluence of events that could lead to some disastrous consequences.
That's what I was going to say. How safe are we?
Oh, yeah. So let's, I was just putting this in here. We had that plane crash. So it wasn't just the TSA, it was what's happening at the airports.
Let me tell you, this is all a part of Project 2025 to broaden the power of the executive, the Republicans that are in control, and to weaken the infrastructure. And so back when he was doing his big beautiful bill stuff, they're like, bye, and they were cutting all of these government positions. Yeah. And the air traffic controllers were already overstretched, understaffed, underpaid, overworked. And they're like, let's cut some more. So they were already screaming. And they're like, this has been going on since the Reagan administration. And we are stretched too thin. We're stretched too thin at this point. And so when this accident happened, where an air traffic controller was dealing with a simultaneous emergency, again, there's still going to be a report. But from what we understand, it seems like that person was dealing with another emergency. And there was a miscommunication and the fire truck was in the path of the landing aircraft. And so these two pilots died. Thankfully, the flight attendant was thrown out of the plane, but she survived. She was strapped in her seat. Right. But
holy shit.
The firefighters were in critical condition. Just we were very fortunate that this was not a much bigger disaster. It's a tragedy, but it certainly wasn't as bad as it could be. And this is because of the underfunding that was already in existence, but was absolutely exacerbated intentionally by this administration. It is a consistent pattern with Donald Trump, with the Republicans, and it's putting people in harm's way. They are responsible for people dying every single day. They are reckless with their power and the way that they've entered into this conflict with Iran, how they've perpetuated it and provoked it. Again, putting people, our service members, in harm's way, intentionally, recklessly, without any type of congressional approval. It just no respect for the Constitution or rule of law.
So earlier, this is just a couple of days ago. I think it was Tuesday.
What's wrong with this country? So we're fighting it hard, and I think they should, because the Democrats are being blamed for the shutdown, and it's their fault, and they're getting killed. That's why when I announced yesterday about ICE, the Democrats called. We want to settle. We want to settle. And I told the people, don't settle. Don't settle. Because we have something bigger.
Did you hear that? So he's talking about Republicans. He's talking about the Trumpers don't settle. So this is Trump admitting that he is basically playing games with TSA lives, TSA salaries are being held hostage so that he could get his SAVE Act passed, his voter suppression bill passed. That is his motive this entire time, because they could have very easily have funded TSA. And then today he's talking about there's some executive, where's that piece? An executive order. Where are you?
And remember, it's now voter suppression and anti-trans.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, I have a clip of that too, but I don't know where it is. But then, where I lost my mind a couple of days ago was, Elon Musk. Remember, he offered to pay TSA wages, which I don't know. I feel like that was just bullshit because like nobody pursued it, nothing happened. Trump said he was okay with that, and then Fetterman has to like right away get out and praise Elon Musk. This is awesome, right? I mean, Fetterman is nuts, and then meanwhile he slams Democrats, for basically not opening the government. So Fetterman never has anything good to say about Democrats. He never has anything bad to say about Republicans. So what is he? Like, is he a Democrat or Republican? Like, what is he really? Yeah.
In the Chris Cuomo interview, he made a point of saying, though, why are they beating on me so much when I vote with Democrats 90% of the time? And the unfortunate part about that is taking myself out of myself and putting myself in middle of the road Pennsylvania voter. I listen to that and it makes sense. And if I'm not paying attention super, closely, I listen to, I'm trying to reopen the government. I don't think the government should ever be shut down. That's what he's saying. And to an average voter, that's going to come across well. And that's a problem.
Yeah. I mean, maybe to the average voter, I know on social media, I can't post anything about this without people jumping in and saying, Fetterman's a traitor. Like not even soliciting, using his name. And when I saw this, Fetterman's poll numbers dropped 108% between 2023 and now. And that went live. Like people were like saying he deserves it. Let's recall him, blah, blah, blah. So Fetterman, I don't think he has a path to re-election. It doesn't even come across like he wants.
I think he does have a path to re-election, and it's Arlen Specter. If you remember, Arlen Specter switched from being a Republican to a Democrat at the very, very end. And I definitely could see Fetterman losing any primary. If we put up any halfway decent candidate for the primary, he would lose to that candidate.
Yeah,
but
definitely, by a lot.
But if he were to switch parties, which he seems to be in a position where he very well could, that would save him, his political career, his future, and Republicans would embrace him because look who's on the other side of the aisle. Look at Mark Wayne Mullen.
More red than blue, like for that, or not district, his state. Do you think Pennsylvania?
Sure.
Because I think of it as a purple state, so I don't think it would give me that it would be.
So yes,
it would be a lot for him by switching parties.
But the problem I would see is that we're purple enough. I mean, it truly is. It's Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Alabama in the middle. It's that Alabama that can very easily swing elections. And that might be enough. If Republicans got energized by the fact that he switched over, he has been laying this groundwork that, he's willing to talk to Trump. Trump has said he's the least crazy Democrat or, some such thing. He could cozy up to him. That is what scares me the most, because you have the power of the incumbency combined with a MAGA push that would be just enough in Pennsylvania that is 50-50 on the best of days that he would keep his seat as a Republican.
I don't know. What do you guys think of that?
I don't want to be right. Let me be clear. I don't want to be correct.
I think the fire against him would be so huge on the Democratic side. Like, we don't agree on everything, that's for damn sure. But there's pretty wide agreement on Fetterman.
The only thing about that is that I feel like our attention spans are to the point now, or maybe it's just the trauma of having consistent trauma happen every single day, that people can't seem to sustain their anger long enough. Not always, but for something that far out, right? Like, because it's not re-election isn't happening this in the midterms. So I don't know. But also it's kind of like at this point a superpower. It's like the more hate he gets, the less he cares. And I have never seen someone so thoroughly unbothered by public opinion in my life. Like I even when we talk about lame duck presidents and like, office members that are like know they're retiring, they at least pretend to care. This dude is like, the more we hate him, the stronger he grows in his indifference. And there's something I don't know what's going on with it, but it's fascinating to me. I mean, it's awful, but why?
So Casey, getting back to this. So talk.
So this is something I saw it on Instagram, and then I went
the viral video, right?
Yeah, it's the viral video of basically a TSA agent teaching an ICE agent how to do the job like it's some sort of damn shift work at the Gap, like it's some sort of retail job and not like major security operations.
And the irony that the man training ICE is not getting paid, but ICE is.
Yeah, that's right.
So
the unpaid worker, by the way, and I'm also going to say this, and it's not a controversial opinion, that ICE is overpaid because that's how they've managed to lure these people to jobs, is with bonuses and promises of student loan forgiveness. So, Biden was trying to get all of our student loans forgiven, and the Republicans came in and went, y'all are going to pay all your student loans. And not only are you going to pay your student loans, you're going to pay them right now, or we're putting you into default. And they took away all kinds of options for loans going forward. But they said, but for ICE, we will forgive your loans. We'll also give you $50,000 signing bonuses. And so now the unpaid worker doing the job of, let's be honest, probably multiple people because they're understaffed as well, is having to train that ICE agent who is absolutely unqualified to do this job. It's kind of like, I was telling Chris, I was like, it's sort of like asking my landscaper to be my vascular surgeon. Like, you can do this, right? Like, we can watch a YouTube video together. It'll be fine.
Well, I mean, it's reminiscent of, from what I'm understanding, of the training they received as ICE agents to go out into our communities, right? There's supposed to be a certain amount of months of training, and that was reduced for them. So this kind of feels a little bit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a video basically talking about the pay disparity between, well, first of all, TSA isn't getting paid at all, but even on a normal day, the difference between, and so here's the thing that's also weird. The actual ICE salaries aren't really public, which I thought federal worker salaries were supposed to be public. But in any case, this is Fortune that did this piece, and basically they reached out and didn't get an answer. So this is kind of what is on record as their salary, like $84,000-ish, but they also got that bonus. And meanwhile, TSA is like around 46K, I think.
Right.
So, and now nothing. So people, like Casey was saying, childcare, people, like I've seen videos where people had to sleep in their cars near the airport because they couldn't afford gas, which is increasing by the day. You can't afford gas to commute to the airport to get to work.
They were reporting yesterday that many TSA agents have resorted to selling their plasma, their blood, to make ends meet.
It's
like
so sick.
So awful.
So let's put this here.
Speak a lot to young voters, many of whom voted for President Trump for the first time in 2024, hoping to have no more wars and to have lower prices. Now, with the war taking place and with gas prices going up, curious what President Trump's message would be to those voters who kind of swung into his coalition in 2024, but maybe don't feel the administration's going as they had expected.
President Trump is doing this for you. He's doing this for young people.
So this is also her saying you shouldn't believe what you're hearing. And it's just, so this is what you shouldn't believe, right?
Insider trading on Iran war planning. There were futures that surged suspiciously right just minutes before the president posted to social media about stopping what were planned strikes on Iran's energy infrastructure. Because of the way this works, we can't tell you who made these trades, only that they totaled over $500 million. I'll show you the spike in oil futures. This is 6:50 a.m. Monday morning, 15 minutes before Trump posted. That volume is suspicious. The question is whether somebody used and abused inside, even potentially classified information. Wall Street probing whether someone had advanced knowledge and how that would come about with the tight-knit circle of government and Trump officials that would be in the know.
I wonder if we have a reduction right now in trust, and that there is a lot of speculation that we are at least perceiving that some people have an edge that we don't.
We saw significant selling of crude futures just before that announcement, just before we saw crude prices falter. We saw a significant purchase of S&P futures. That was an embarrassing moment. It was highly suspicious.
One Democrat says this looks like mind-blowing corruption. The Trump administration, which remember, fired and removed many of the whistleblower-type systems and the inspectors general who do independent probes of government misconduct. They have not yet announced whether they will look into this at all. It could literally endanger our soldiers.
So that's crazy on a lot of levels. I mean, so here's
the administration is corrupt and water is wet.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that people are actually profiting off of this, and what are the odds of this ever really getting a proper investigation?
Zero. Zero chance.
President Trump has privately informed advisors he thinks the conflict is in its final stages, urging them to stick to the 4 to 6 week timeline he's outlined publicly. One idea Trump has floated to advisors: securing U.S. access to some of Iran's oil as part of any deal to end the war. That's according to a senior administration.
Why is he so obsessed with oil? Like, we're the #1 oil producer in the world. And I mean, I know he doesn't like EVs, but it's like everything comes down to oil. You know, Venezuela was about oil. This is about oil.
I mean, that's money, because all of his like besties are owning companies that benefit like in one way or another. Like, invest it. I don't know. Like, I don't live that life. I'm not like a gazillionaire, but I know that's what it's always about, money. And it's always about paying people back for the work that they've invested, or the money that they've invested in his campaign, keeping him out of jail, obviously. And like, they benefit from him. Yeah, exactly. This is a quid pro quo situation, or he's paying it forward or whatever. And also, I think the second thing is that he knows, or somebody knows, I don't know how much he knows anything now, but they understand that a lot of MAGA has very limited understandings of how government works and how life works. And when you start talking about oil, suddenly people are like, oh yeah, oil is really important. Oil matters, you know, and it's like suddenly that is and also these people in the Middle East are violent, and look at how they're attacking all these countries, and nobody understands that we have military bases in all of these countries, right? Like, so it's about aggression back at us in Israel because we have provoked this, right? And, you know, like, this isn't me defending Iran so much as I'm saying, like, we have started this, like, and we should have expected escalation of violence. But the idea of oil is I think something that's understandable to his audience. Like, you know, as a throwback, a lot of them grew up, especially like, so basically elder millennials and beyond were there for the first go around in Iraq and like Afghanistan, and obviously it goes back before that, but I mean, like, that's a big base of your voters.
So
that
this
have dealt with this.
or this person in the comments says BB and MBS got him in a game of 3-card Monte. And here we go.
Recent days, Mr. Trump has given more serious consideration to a military operation to seize Harg Island, the hub of Iran's oil infrastructure. Such an operation with airborne army forces or an amphibious assault by Marines would be immensely dangerous.
That New York Times article, it says Saudi leader is said to push Trump to continue Iran war, and it continues.
The New York Times also reports Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is privately encouraging President Trump to keep going. Citing people briefed by the U.S., the Times reports MBS has argued the U.S. consider using troops to seize energy infrastructure to force regime change.
So, I mean, this comment is absolutely nails it because he's getting the fact that I mean, I don't want to take credit away from him for this stupid mistake, but he supposedly got pushed into this war by Bibi Netanyahu with some foolery. And now he's getting, pushed by the Saudis to invade, to go harder, basically. So where does that leave us? Then you have, and he keeps saying, oh, no boots on the ground. It certainly doesn't seem that way. But check this out.
And has said he does not plan to put boots on the ground. But the soldiers of the 82nd are trained to parachute behind enemy lines. Their deployment on top of the 4,500
Those are ground troops he's sending over there.
Marines and sailors expected to arrive in the region this week. It comes as President Trump and Iran send clashing messages about whether they're negotiating. Trump insists they are.
The leaders are all gone. Nobody knows who to talk to. But we're actually talking to the right people, and they want to make a deal so badly.
Iran says that is simply not true, that there are no talks, and that Trump's statements are part of efforts to reduce energy prices and buy time for the implementation of his military plans. The president will not say which Iranian leaders the U.S. is talking to.
We have really regime change. This is a change in the regime because the leaders are all very different than the ones that we started off with that created all those problems.
Today, he cryptically noted that he knows Iran is going to make a deal because they just gave the U.S. what he called a very big present.
They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize. And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it. So that meant one thing to me: we're dealing with the right people.
So as usual, if you give Trump something, he likes you more.
It's giving. I swear, I have a girlfriend. She goes to another school in Canada.
This is me joking around that the gift is Trojan horse. It's
oh my God.
So embarrassing. Listen, I was talking tonight. The things that this man keeps doing that aren't like even within his job scope. And I'm like, do we all have to pay for his shortcomings, like his literal shortcomings at this point? Like this is just maddening that we are letting this tiny little man with tiny little hands and tiny little other things run this country because his ego is so fucking fragile and he has something to prove and also is trying to stay out of jail. Like it's
But yet, Mike Johnson gives him a participation trophy.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, where's my trophy?
Mike Johnson loves this though, because this is like like I said, Mike Johnson's crazy for free. Other people are out here, building their retirement portfolios. And Mike Johnson's like, let's get to that holy war. Like, I'm so into that. Yeah. He's like, bring on the rapture. If you're on Threads, you know what I mean. But that's why he's dangerous, but it's also annoying because he's so ready to feed Trump's narcissism. He's so okay with that. And just at least I forgot to bring the clip of Stephen Miller, like looking annoyed at Trump. Did you see that?
No.
Okay. I'll post it on my socials after this, but there's a video of Stephen Miller. And he always looks kind of annoyed, even at the best of times. Like him and his wife both have this matching resting bitch face. That's like worse than resting bitch. I don't even know what it's called. It's like resting annoyed as fuck at everybody face. Probably because they're miserable people. But anyway, like he was like, Trump made a statement and Stephen Miller like kind of rolled his eyes and was like, oh my God. Like, I do believe Stephen Miller is tolerating Donald Trump. I don't think he likes him. I think he's using him for their agenda. Whereas Mike Johnson's using him for maybe a different agenda. And they sort of all kind of intermingle and use each other in this like incestuous little like cult. It's gross. And unfortunately for the rest of us, we have to watch it.
I think they need to drink the Kool-Aid and get it all over with. It's just.
My husband and I just have to share this really fast because I just remember, like, what was it, a month ago? There were reports, of course, that were coming out about Jane Doe number 4. And that's when all of this started, right? The attack on Iran. And Pam Bondi's little statement about, but the Dow's at 50,000. Spoke to our financial advisor today because we were having serious concerns because we were watching our retirement. You know, we're supposed to retire in 6 months, and we're watching our retirement do this. The poor man, I actually had sympathy for him. Like, I know, like, this is his job and it's what he's supposed to do, but he literally said, I'm having the worst effing day. The past 2 weeks, he's like, I'm ready to quit my job. He goes, I spent my whole life doing this. I'm so over this crap. He said, we don't, I bet. He's like, we have clients that we're trying to care for, you know, like, for their future, their retirement. That's all they have. And he just went off, and my husband and I were like in our chairs, kind of sinking under the desk, like, please don't hurt us. So I have a lot of, you know, I know folks
They
are like,
do not care about
taking
people.
our money, but I actually had true empathy for this man today. Sympathy. I was just like, I could feel what he was going through.
Those are the middlemen, like, right? They're not the ones. It's these, you know, billionaires, the millionaires, the big millionaires that are the issue. And the average person now knows about that, because it used to be, so since he's gotten elected, so it's been like a year and some months, when anybody asks me how things are going, I'm always like, oh, well, Trump did this today, so like, it's not great, right? Like, whatever. I've been really honest about what I do in my work, like, life, to try to educate people. I share that in the real world. And this is like, you know, Bob at Costco or whatever. And so for a while there, like, it depended on who you talked to. Like, some people had no idea what was going on, and they were sort of like, oh yeah, like, he's not great, or, oh, I didn't know anything about that, or yeah, like, whatever. Now, when I do that, I get emphatic responses from people regularly. Like, oh my, it's a fucking, it's a mess. Like, people are mad. People are mad. Like, people that weren't mad before and didn't know what's going on now know what's going on, at least somewhat, because they've been awakened by gas prices or grocery prices or their job loss or like whatever. Like, everybody's got some kind of stake in this. And I was telling Chris the other day, I was like, he is offended and impacted like every demographic. Yeah, right. Like, initially it was people who were immigrants or had immigrant families, right? Like, but as the year has gone on, every single person in every part of this country, unless you are the 1%, and I still think in the long run you're going to be affected, but everybody's suffering and they're mad about it. And even MAGA, as we saw last week from the iconic woman, just like, my bad, I'm an idiot for voting for him. Yeah. She gave it to him, and she was MAGA. And she's like, not anymore. Like, I voted for him 3 times. Like, but look, like, this guy's an idiot. Like, people are mad and awakened. I don't know how. I don't know how much longer, unless they change things, right? Like I said, that people's attention spans are short, like, for things like this, if things are going well. But when they're not, and I don't think I sent you anything on this, but just as a side note, Democrats tried to tell people that the economy was getting better, because it was, but it hadn't caught up to everybody yet. And so when they were talking about all the gains, people were like, F you, everything's still awful. And then they voted for Trump because, I don't know, they were under this delusion that this man is some sort of a mad magician when it comes to finances, which is like the exact opposite. But anyway, let's pour gas on the fire. Sure, why not? And so we elect Trump, and now, like, everybody's like, wait. This is terrible. There's so much fire. And it's a wildfire now. And Trump's like, no, everything's fine. The Republicans are like, it's cool. KK Carolyn's like, everything's great. And I'm like, how long before this backfires? Because y'all didn't let it get out of Biden's mouth before you went after the Democrats. But the Republicans are telling you a bold-faced lie right to your face. And sending our troops into harm's way and spending what, I don't even know where we're at billions-wise. It's like $1 billion a day for this war. Oh, yeah. Great. Yeah. I mean, the $200 billion request.
They haven't put this supplemental through yet. I thought they would have been trying to push it through by now. And I think it's because it's so deeply unpopular. I mean, I think last week we showed Lauren Boebert saying, hell no, people in my district are struggling to feed themselves and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. They'll steal the money from somewhere. They will. Did you guys see this week? The Army ups the maximum enlistment age to 42.
Yes.
That's coincidental, isn't it? No boots on the ground. You can older people can now enlist.
I'm still out of range.
Eric Trump, he can enlist.
I'm surprised that. Well, yeah, we talked about the fact that Barron can't because he's too tall, apparently.
Yeah, but Eric is not. Eric,
yeah,
the other one.
There you go. Well, I'm sure since they have this strong military history of evading the draft, that will continue.
Yeah, I mean, there was some talk on social about Barron Trump, like he needs to enlist. If they're
that was so fun.
Our young people. We have a clip later for that, but
it was hashtag Send Barron was trending. It was viral. Hashtag Send Barron.
So now we get to pay more for airfare. Everything. I think people should realize everything is going to get more expensive because
it's going to be so bad. I need you to go back to the pandemic. Like I need you to think about
what it's going to be. There's going to be a supply shortage. Everything, like so many of our products take petroleum, and Trump was like, "Well, we don't use the Strait of Hormuz." Yes, we do. We're a global economy. Yes, we do.
100%. And not only that, the fact that it's like the cost of getting things places, right? So you brought this up, Chris, like way back before about. So like if you're using like say a prescription bottle or whatever, it's not just the medication, it's the bottle itself and like the packaging that it goes into and all of this that costs money to get places, and people don't think about that.
A lot of things are made in the United States, for example, but the packaging that uses it is made in China or whatever.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest issues that I've seen over the last few years is realizing how many Americans are in such a bubble and don't realize that there's a world outside of here or outside of their little tiny town.
This is why it's such a joke that this SAVE Act is even a thing. Like Republicans, you think they have passports? They think America is the United States is the center of the universe. They're not the big time travelers. They're not the ones going to, I mean, I'm not saying none of them, but I'm just saying like, I don't think it's proportional here.
Well, and I also think this is hypothetical and like totally aluminum hat territory, but just so you know, I think we need to start thinking about things in a long-term way that we normally wouldn't be able to conceive of. So as if it's like building blocks of crazy. All right. So the SAVE Act obviously isn't the end game, is what you need to remember. Like that's the beginning. That's like the foundation block of crazy. And so they're not really worried about how it's going to stop Republicans from voting because their end game is going to stop everybody from voting. Right? Like that's the problem. So I think moving ahead, like I was saying last night, it wasn't really a joke. I'm like, don't come crying to me when they introduce a MAGA 250th anniversary flag and then they try to rebrand that as the official US flag, because this is the kind of stuff that they're going to do, but they're going to push the line until it gets so far out that it doesn't seem crazy anymore. That's just the gaslighting and the manipulation. And so when it comes to this, the SAVE Act, when it comes to the spending on the war and all the things that they're doing, every time he takes power, I've told you this before, it's like walking up to a line, stepping over it, and then walking back. But as you come back, dragging your feet so you can't see where the line was in the first place. And so every single time he takes a little bit more power, when everybody gets mad, he backs up, but he doesn't go all the way back to the start line. And it's just, this is why people who
are we segueing here? Because you all heard about the currency, right? He wants to sign the $100 bills now.
I posted about that earlier. Like luckily I'm pretty cash free. Like if you jack me, you're not getting rich. I mean, so I'm pretty much, using my Apple Pay or whatever. So I will
But
never.
He wants
have currency
Yeah,
with
it's his
his
brand. He
signature.
wants his name on everything. He wants everything branded, you know?
It's the commemorative coin. It's the 250th anniversary
That's
coins.
something else. That's different. That's not
No,
actually currency.
no, I know the signature on the currency as well. But what I'm saying is, it's these things that in isolation, you could have the random person hear about it and say, well, it's not a big deal. But it's the cumulative nature of them that it is pushing forward towards this guy ain't leaving.
Well, he's breaking all the
he's
norms.
He's gonna
And then you've
definitely
got
leave a legacy.
folks in
That's
the
what
treasury who are like, "Oh, isn't this wonderful? He's the guy." Like,
No, and this is why I was trying to write a Substack today, but I got caught up with my computer that's still not working. No thanks to Apple. Anyway, so the idea is that, like Chris said, it's this continuing usurpation of power and a refusal to respect the rule of law, the Constitution. Not only that, but we've talked about this a lot here on the live about how so much of our country was reliant on like a gentleman's agreement. Yeah, that everything wasn't necessarily written out because the framers couldn't anticipate our needs, and so things were left nebulous and like kind of open for the Supreme Court. Or actually, that wasn't even a thing. We didn't even have like Marbury versus Madison is like what introduced like judicial review. So my point being is that up until now, even the most problematic presidents still revered the nation enough that they didn't fuck with it too much, right? But Trump throws all of that out. And so because we have a Supreme Court that's been stolen, that's not going to do a whole lot to rein him in. They've done a little, but like not enough. And then you've got a Congress that is absolutely beholden to him because Republicans, like there's like one or two that are willing to stand up to him. That's it. Nobody will do that. He's just going to keep ignoring any kind of traditions, like the idea that, oh, no sitting president signs the money. They're always dead. And he's like, that doesn't apply to me. Right?
Oh,
Everything that doesn't apply to me. I did like somebody that was like, well, we can manifest, right? Like, I mean, isn't this one of those karmic things where he signs it and then he dies, maybe?
So he wants to put this signature that signed the birthday card on our currency.
Yep. And that's in 15 years when we really have exposed the Epstein files and everybody really truly understands how prolific these child abusers were and what they were involved in covering up, people are going to be not only unwilling to admit that they voted for this man, but people are going to be horrified that he's all over our currency, all over his name's all over our buildings. People are going to want to burn down all of DC.
it's right now. It's just supposed to be the $100 bill, right? Am I clear on that?
That's,
or no?
I thought it's just the one right now, but
the one right now. So my advice, I'm going to throw a little resistance energy out there. If you go to cash your checks, ask for the Hamiltons. Say, I don't want the $100 bills. I want the Hamiltons. Even if you make your pockets, you can't zip that zipper closed. Ask for the Hamiltons. Yeah,
that's great. That's really good advice. All the malicious compliance, all the weaponization we can do to make it less beneficial for him. I don't think this is going to stop. I think Chris is right. Like, I think it's going to keep going. And I think that this is a megalomaniac who, by the way, as we've said before, he's doing the work for this agenda behind the scenes of this, like, heritage group Project 2025. He's useful as long as he's willing to do the work. And I really, truly think that they just let him do stuff. He's like, yeah, I want to knock down the East Wing. And they're like, do we really need that? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, well, if it'll keep him busy, here you go. Like, and it's like a toddler that you're giving like fruit snacks to or something. Like, you just keep throwing things at him. And Trump's like, yay, like,
Goldfish.
Now I'm going to go do this. Right. And he's like a manic.
Unintended.
And the narcissism is it's going to be a real problem. It's going to be a real problem for the party that cleans this up. And I'm not going to get into that tonight because I'm going to save my nervous system that trouble. But I'm going to put a pin in it right now and tell you in a couple weeks or months when I'm ready to talk about it, like, we got to talk about the cleanup that's going to happen after this, because we need to prepare ourselves now, and start educating people now.
So this is interesting. They announced it first ever in history. gas surcharge.
Headline today from the Wall Street
USPS.
Journal that the U.S. Postal Service is going to impose their first ever fuel surcharge of 8% on packages. First time ever, because
8%.
gasoline it takes to propel the trucks and the jets that have to move around.
Higher prices everywhere, right? We're also seeing it, you're hearing about from the airlines, right? As it costs them more to fill up their engines, if you will, their fuel. And without question, when you have higher energy prices, remember, it's not just oil, but you also have the byproducts of liquefied natural gas, the impact that has on fertilizer, on ammonia, on so many other things, and how that trickles down into the supply chain. You're ultimately going to see higher prices.
Joseph, let's leave our viewers with.
Anyway, that, like we were saying, that affects everything. It's not just USPS, but like we saw earlier, United announced a 20% fee hike or fare hike. And
Right
so
before
all
summer.
these freight companies are going to be doing the same thing. Everything's going to cost more.
And it's
Not
going to be
just import,
just,
but just to go from
Yep.
east to west or north to south or whatever.
it's going to be just like the tariffs. Remember how we tried to warn everybody? And you said the same thing. You're like, people have it. Same thing with their health insurance, right? Like, people haven't gotten their bills yet, so they don't know. Like, we are not a nation of preparers when it comes to education and civic research. So people do not know. But as soon as that goes into effect and they start getting their packages, can I tell you the moms in these Facebook groups that lost their damn minds when they all of a sudden had to pay $200, $300, $400 in tariff charges? And they're like, what do you mean I'm responsible for this? And there was all this fighting in the group because people were like, yes, you are. And they're like, no, I can't. Trump would pay for that. And people are like, babe. So now with this 8% thing, it's like, give it a month, give it some time. And then when people start actually having to pay it, I guarantee you the outrage like will precipitate something. I don't know what, but it always does. Like, you know, he resolved some of the tariffs and because people were like, I'm not going to do this. And he's like, all right, that's fine. This is what always happens.
What I was thinking about is school buses. I mean, they run on diesel. We're going to, crazy. It's like UPS.
That's crazy.
That's okay.
And they're
So
already
we're gonna
hit
have-
hard.
We're gonna
Right.
have robots as teachers.
Yes.
So
yes.
You know, they'll just
Indoor
be
I don't think
sending
that's
them
funny.
into our
It's
homes.
coming.
I don't think it's funny. I think it's funny because I was like, I wrote this comment and I was like, Black Mirror couldn't write this. Like, this is crazy. And they're just like out here bringing robots with Melania. It was the craziest, most dystopian thing. And I was like, this is, you know, what's the craziest part about this? It's not the craziest headline of the week. That's what's crazy about it.
Yeah.
Well, teachers will appreciate this. I said that teaching robot will self-destruct the first time the first time it has to go to a faculty meeting.
Somebody said that they would just pour their kids would just pour water
You
on
guys,
it, juice boxes on it.
But let's be honest. All it's going to take is some little 4 or 5-year-old having a tantrum and a meltdown to come up behind him and give him a nice big push.
Yeah.
Or even let me grab your leg, right? That's all it's going to take. It's over.
Any seventh grade classroom will beat that robot.
The laughability of this. The laughability and the audacity of all fucking countries, our country, which is one of the least technologically advanced, like they've lied to us and made us believe that we have all of these technological advancements. No, we fucking don't. Go to like Japan or China where they actually have their shit figured out. And I think the idea that they're gonna send robots in, babe, like in 50 years, like everybody else will have been doing it for decades before we get there. So anyway, sorry, back to transitioning back to his approval ratings. What I thought was fascinating about this is that not only are his numbers dropping and we're finally getting to the point where we might see like under 30%, like finally, but when you ask people about the economy, that it's a 29% approval rating, that has got to be that, because this isn't just on the just on the economy.
Which looks like his signature, by the way.
Yes,
it does.
Somebody should do that. So the Biden thing is like, that was the whole reason that people made that an issue, was like, oh, Biden's so bad, which obviously in hindsight, hopefully people have learned that in fact, Biden was quite capable when it came to the economy and was doing just fine. But Trump has taken over, and people are like, you were going to do all this stuff for us, and instead you put us in this war, and now everything's expensive. Like, what have you've made everything worse. Yes, he has. 29% is crazy.
Somebody in the comments said,
Love that for him.
They doubt he'll ever get below 35%. That's the percentage population of MAGA. I don't really think 35% is the population of MAGA.
I agree.
They're the loudest, so they make you think that they're like, they want you to think it's half the population. I think
it's probably closer to 15%.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if you're saying Republicans, maybe that's closer to 35%. But MAGA, in fact, let's look at this. This is MAGA here, CPAC.
Sparkles. You'll see a lot of red, white, and blue here at CPAC. I've spoken to a lot of people today, and my head is still spinning a little bit because I asked people a lot of questions, and what I was receiving was an alternative reality. I asked, for example, about the Fox News poll that you just mentioned showing President Trump's disapproval rating, and people said that they didn't believe it. And I said, wait, but this is Fox News. You don't believe the Fox News poll? They didn't believe that. I asked him about gas prices, and they say that they don't blame President Trump. They say that it was worse under President Biden. And I said, wait, but the president decided to attack Iran, that restricted supply, there's the whole supply and demand thing. They say no, they don't blame him. And then I asked them about Iran. And they said to me, multiple people, that is America first. And I was trying to understand how that was America first. And I said, wait, but he promised no forever wars. He promised no forever wars forever and ever. And they somehow explained that what President Trump is doing is best for America. I've got to say, two people did stand out, because one of them said that the war in Iran is a quagmire and that it could get really bad and it could cost Republicans seats in the House and in the Senate. And then there was this woman who says that she has an 18-year-old son, and it got personal for her, and she changed her mind on the war with Iran. Take a listen.
This is her.
I started off pretty upset with the war. I have an 18-year-old son, so that really hit close to home. We had to get him registered for the selective service and everything, and so I wasn't happy about it. But then I saw these 3 boys that were publicly hung in Iran. That regime has been threatening Americans and has been killing Americans for years. If my son was called to go, I would still support the war.
Now, Chris, I asked that mother, what about Barron Trump? She was there with her friend, and both mothers agreed that if soldiers were sent to war, if this woman's son was sent to war, they both agreed that Barron Trump should also serve in the military. And I said, well, do you think that he would actually do that? And they said, well, they think that he would do the right thing.
What do y'all think of that? I mean, they're dug in deep, these people.
I beg
the Trumps are not the Kennedys.
I beg of the U.S.
There's a reason Jack Kennedy was president and not Joe Kennedy Jr., and it's because he served and was killed. And that is not this family. So I think that's delusional to think that they would serve.
I would like to.
Well, they are delusional. Sorry, Casey.
That's what I was asking. Ignorance is bliss is like this very famous saying, and I don't know that I've ever seen it weaponized before, but here we are. And I have never wanted to be stupid before more than I do right now in this timeline, because oh my fucking God. Can you imagine like what it would be like to get up every day right now and put on your sequin hat that says amen to Jesus and like put on your like blazer with all of the rhinestones, and you just like are like, it's amazing. Everything's great. It's amazing. I love this guy. What would that be like? I want to be stupid at this point, and I think we need to start calling them stupid, because some of these people just are. If you're telling me that you had an initial feeling, which was the concern and welfare of your son, that's valid as a mom. That's how you should feel. And then you somehow bought into this belief that us going to another country and bombing them first, like, is our responsibility, and your child should die for that, when we're the ones that have perpetuated the violence.
I mean, especially when they're the beginning of this segment, she's like, they consider the war, not these two particular women, but people she interviewed consider the war America first. I don't get how you get a through line from.
I do. I can do it. I can do it. So part of them and their whole America first thing is the strength, right, of this nation. Yeah, like, and part of like is like everything's about putting all the resources in and making us like the best country. And so what they're doing is conflating that with us being like the biggest superpower, and that's somehow going to enrich us if we are like the best in the world and we are like the peacekeepers of the world and keeping the world safe. Then that's going to come back onto us, like in bounty, like, right, we're going to benefit from that. So they're selling it as we are peacekeeping, we are saving the world, we're the saviors, and there's your Jesus complex, and that is going to affect all of us. And then we're also going to have the respect of everyone else in the world. They're going to want to do business with us, like, they're, you know, this is their mentality, and so we're strong and nobody's going to attack us because they're going to know better than to mess with us. This is what they're feeding them. It's like this patriotic bullshit that's like, none of it's true, it's all wrong, but you know, it sounds great when you wrap it up with a MAGA bow and you're stupid. That's probably a prerequisite.
Well, and their facts.
That's the through line. Does anybody else see that through line? Because I feel like that's a through line.
Yeah. They're selective about the facts. It's like they have this ability to pick out the most obnoxious things and somehow like string them together. Like, to your point, Casey, I don't know if they saw it, but I saw him talking about how, you know, when they hit Iran, who would have thought that they would have hit all these countries? You know, the U.S. military, who would have thought that? Everyone, anyone who's paying attention.
Literally anyone.
So they're very selective, and
well, they still don't know that there are bases over there.
Well, how about the crazy fact that he thought they were going to rise up against the Revolutionary Guard, that they magically heard him over their internet that doesn't work right now. Like, that was his plan. Like, oh, we're going to come in there and it's up to you guys to take over this brutal dictatorship. Like, I don't understand. Like, who is advising this man? Or does it?
Well, and
I don't know.
No, I don't. I think the crazier he is, the better. But remember, this base, these are people who thought taking over Greenland was okay because the administration said, well, we have to get our military there. And we kept trying to tell them they're already there. There's already a base. They're already willing to work with us. And they, like, to your point, Michelle, they were just ignoring that whole fact, like that whole reality that existed, that we were like, that's a thing. We're already there. And they're like, no, you don't understand. And like, yeah. And so now, because they've made Fox News too liberal, okay, because now it's Fox News. There's like also multiple Newsmax channels. So what has happened there? But like, now Fox News is too liberal. So even though Fox News is sometimes reporting facts about this, like, actually, surprisingly, we're like getting some reasonable headlines every so often, they don't believe it. They're like, no, that's not true.
Chris Webb, you shared, I think it was you who shared a post today or yesterday, of somebody saying, I only get my news from True Social. Was that you?
Oh, I don't have that loaded.
I thought it
up,
was you.
Yeah, that's just...
It was in one of those clips that you shared, I think, where they were interviewing people, and there was a young lady saying, I only get my news from Truth Social because that's the only
And
news we
that's
can
terrifying.
trust. That's
And
it's so terrifying.
what's very frustrating is the peace plan or whatever that we have floated to them is essentially the Iran nuclear deal that Obama had.
It's
And
crazy.
and so it is the Trump supporters not understanding anything past the Obama bad, that this is exactly what Trump is asking for right now. And that of course Iran isn't going to agree to that because they would want something better than that. And what is the upside to Iran negotiating at all ever? The longer this plays out, it is unfortunately very similar to me in our build up to Vietnam, though Vietnam had competent people on our side that were doing it, where it is this, as soon as I heard the 82nd Airborne and the numbers, the visceral reaction to me was, okay, we're going from Eisenhower sending in some advisors to, the first troops going in to Johnson, putting in more troops. Like I see how this is playing out. I see where this is going. And the problem is that for all the faults that the leaders in this country had with how they dealt with the war in Vietnam, they were far more capable than the people that we have right now. And that is going to be incredibly destructive to not only our country, but to the entire world.
It's basically, America, you in danger, girl. Like that meme needs to be playing over and over and over, like with Whoopi talking to us, because that is real. We are to the point now where it's been so bad for so long that I have hit a bottom that I didn't know existed. And I've somehow gone beyond that bottom, and I'm even farther below that. So it's almost like, people still go to Heather Cox Richardson, and she kind of, it's like she stays not neutral, but she warns you how it's bad and whatever. But she just kind of is even keel, and I'm like, y'all need to start drinking tequila, or something. I can't even give you any reasonable, other than just one day at a time, I guess. I don't know what to say, because these people are the MAGA people do not outnumber us, and that's the one thing we have in our favor that exists right now, is that MAGA is not they are feeling it too, and at some point they will probably, because economy always does that, it motivates people in ways that other things don't. They don't care. You can apparently be a pedophile and abuse children. That's fine. But if you fuck with people's, ability to pay for their groceries and to live and go on vacation, then you will pay the price. So I will just say, keep having those conversations with your community members, because at some point the reality,
I'm going to unfortunately disagree.
Okay, that's fair.
Just
trying my best.
Again, I don't want to be correct. I don't want to be correct.
I think you're right, Chris. I'm just trying to be. I'm trying to keep us going.
The difference here, as opposed to any other political debate in the past, is that this, to so many of them, has crossed over into belief. Not it is religious to them, and it is
the martyrdom. It's the martyrdom.
It is not
argument.
It is not simply Christian, though it certainly is in terms of part of why we support Israel so much. There is that sect of Christianity that wants to bring about the apocalypse, but it's overlaid with the religion of MAGA, that MAGA itself is somewhat of religion. And the problem with belief is that there is no assaulting belief. You cannot change someone's mind when you are arguing with belief, because that is fundamental to who they are. So no matter how desperate they become economically, they will still have that belief. They will hold on to that.
I think you can deprogram people, though. I do think you can deprogram people.
Sure.
I don't think it happens overnight, but I think you can.
Individuals, sure.
As someone who has literally gone through like deconstructing my religion of how I was raised, because I was raised by Republican Christians who told me I needed to be married, told me what job I should have. I should be either a teacher or maybe a nurse, but really the goal is to find a husband, and you need to look a certain way so that you can find a husband, a good husband, because apparently the good ones, I don't know, prefer women who are better looking. I don't know. There's like a whole weird thing.
My mom wasn't religious and had that, by the way. That's a big,
it's
that's
crazy.
a big believing.
It was like, yeah. I mean, it was how you looked, how you behaved. It wasn't okay.
I'm like, aren't they going to notice when you roll over in the morning that you look different? Like, nobody's going to notice that? That's not a problem? Like,
get up.
My mom used to be
get
like,
up an hour before they do, before they go to work.
That's exactly, that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is.
I have specific memories of my mother getting up an hour before my dad. My dad would get up. He was a welder in San Francisco, and he would get up, union hours. He would get up at like 4 a.m. She would get up at 3 a.m., fix his lunch, have her hair, like comb her hair out, do her little eyeliner thing, and red lipstick. I have vivid memories of that. And then he'd leave and she'd go back to bed for a couple hours. So it's a thing, y'all. It's a thing. And currently experiencing some stuff going on personally with family members, where, thank God, some of them who did vote Trump are saying this is not good. This is not what we voted for. This is not, even though we know it is. But they're kind of coming to. And then there's one family member who truly believes that this is the second coming, and that we're being pushed, it's being rushed, and that's a good thing. And there's pushback happening now, and so some folks are so there's like 1% that's still like 10 toes down, right? But some folks are coming around, and so I have hope. I do. I have hope. I can't believe I'm saying that right now.
I do.
I do.
I also have a lot of cynicism, though. Like, so I could be bought or sold either way.
Well, I keep saying just because you're seeing the light about Donald Trump, possibly, or feeling like he betrayed, like he hasn't delivered anything that he promised, is a far different thing from saying I'm going to vote for a Democrat. So we can just hope they don't vote.
Correct.
To fully appreciate the poll numbers, though, because we look in, like I post a lot of polls on him, and people are like, he has 40%. Who are these 40%? 35%. I think to fully appreciate the poll numbers, you have to look at the swing. You have to look at where he started. So watch this video.
The game away. Okay, Trump standing with men. In November of 2024, he beat Kamala Harris among them by 13 points. Look at where he is now on his net approval rating. Down he goes. It's a 20-point shift away from Donald Trump. He is now 7 points underwater at this particular point among men. I think it is very difficult for Republicans to do well in this midterm cycle if Donald Trump is underwater with men. As my uncle once wrote, where the boys are, where the men are, they are underwater when it comes to Donald Trump.
Okay, so that's overall.
That guy sounds like he's about to sell me a slap chop.
He always sounds like that. So I mean, 20 points with just men. That's a key voting block for him, for Republicans, period. And if it's particularly white men, they have not voted for Democrats in 50 years. Democrats have not won the white male vote in 50 years. So this isn't necessarily just white men, but the fact that everyone was talking about, the shift in men, he lost, he definitely lost white men, but he also gained Latino men support. So he not lost. He won white men. He won Latino men. He didn't win black men, but there was still a migration. So if he's losing that, I don't see, I just think people are disgusted with the whole Republican brand, the fact that none of them have a backbone to stand up to this man. So I don't know. And the fact that, what is it? Democrats have flipped 30 legislative seats and Republicans have flipped 0. So I think this is a really good sign. Like, we have to keep our foot on the gas. We cannot, take this to the bank. We have to work. We have to, especially when you factor in all this voter suppression stuff that we're seeing, or that we hear Trump planning. We really have to be on our toes and spread the word about that.
I mean, our easiest solution is to get a constitutional amendment that says that only Black women can vote.
Yeah.
I don't know about easy.
And then
what have I been saying?
Then we're set.
Yes, we're cooking with oil. That's right. I think that. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
I was just to say really quick. I just think the win we just got in Florida, you guys, is so huge.
It's big.
Really, we're fighting. I mean, how many of y'all remember the governor's race? Right? Like, we thought for sure folks wouldn't. They sure wouldn't do that, right? But they did. They voted DeSantis. So seeing 2 out of 3 flip, that was euphoric for me. I was like, this is beautiful to see that there are people actually saying enough. We've had enough. So and she did the work, right? One in particular, she really,
ending mail-in ballots, which is a very big.
Well, ending mail-in ballots that arrive after Election Day. Let's be very clear.
Clarification. Yeah, which, I mean, for my state in particular.
But they're controlling the people that get them there. So even though it's after the ones that arrive, they can make those ballots not arrive on time.
Yeah, well, I mean, bottom line, you're not going to be able to, going into the next election, if this is what we're dealing with, we're going to be spreading the word that you should not really trust the mail, that you should do drop off or in-person voting. This is what it's got to be to make sure your vote counts. And I hate that idea. I'm someone who does ballot tracking. So in California, we have ballot tracking, or at least LA County. Michelle, do you have it in your area? Yeah. So you know where your ballot is at all times. I know we're not the only ones that have it at all times. So when they mail it to me, I know it's on the way. It says it arrived. When I actually put it in the mail and USPS picks it up, I know it's in their hands. And usually within 24, 48 hours after it's picked up by USPS, I'll get another text saying your vote has been received and counted. So that's secure. It's a felony to mess with USPS mail.
The tell is that Mississippi is one of the states that the administration was having a problem with. So, if Mississippi is one of the states that is allowing the votes to be counted 5 days after, and that you're trying to stop, that shows that this has nothing to do with anything other than just suppressing votes across the board.
Did you guys hear the arguments that the Supreme Court was giving for this? I think it was it Alioto? I don't know. I can't remember if it was Alioto or Alito, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Alito and our favorite Kavanaugh. Basically, the argument they were trying to throw out there was that, well, if late ballots could give the impression that things aren't being counted properly.
Well, they were.
I'm sorry. What?
They were all over the map.
Actually, by definition, not late, because at least in California, these states have their own laws, right? We do have a cutoff. So you have to mail your ballot, and it has to be, I think it's within 7 days. And this is really not inhibiting anything, because California we have a huge state. It's the most populous state in the union, and it takes a long time. That's why California is always late with our results. And Trump also likes to say, "Oh, that's fraud. Look, they're taking that."
So it's about counting. So why not change it up so that those mail-in ballots are counted ahead of time?
Yeah, exactly.
So they put all those pressures out there that just don't, and the shit they say just doesn't make sense.
But you have my point was you have a cutoff. It's not like it can just it can be received in 30 days. You like as long as it's postmarked.
No, exactly.
Before,
it has to be postmarked. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be postmarked before, and I believe it's received within 7 days after the actual election. And usually we have the winner by then. It's like those mail-in ballots that are still being counted. Like if your ballot is received 7 days later, California is usually a null state. Like usually it's the battleground states that decide the presidential election, but even the midterms.
Yeah, and I don't know if people realize this. I think you might have touched on it last week. Is the fact that UPS, the Postmaster General, who's the guy who's in charge, who was appointed by Trump, basically said that the USPS is broke and folks are probably not going to get paid in October, the month before voting, right? Before the election. So
and the whole
that's
reason
when mail ballots go out. That's when the ballots are sent. That's when they're received. That's when they're sent back. So I think it's a very convenient timing for him to say that also. So
Louis DeJoy,
Dropbox.
and the reason that the post office is always underwater is because of the way that they've been told to fund themselves, where they and that is, I think, manufactured to privatize it. And the whole
absolutely
the whole point of the post office is that there are places where you cannot send a package from UPS because they won't go there, because it's too remote, because they wouldn't make any money off of it. The whole point of the US Postal Service is the connection to all people in the United States. The whole purpose is public welfare. It is not a business. It is not.
Now stop, Chris. You just stop. Stop. What do you mean making sure people are taken care of? What do you mean? We don't do that. Why would we subsidize things to make things better for everyone?
The other point of the US Postal Service is to prove that Kris Kringle is the one and only Santa Claus.
I'm just saying, I am offended by this because it is such a blatant, like such an obvious, like it's not even like, at least with other Republicans, we've talked about this before, they tried to like pretend to be discreet about their plans to privatize everything. But these Republicans are just like, hey, let's do it. Like they're not even trying to hide it. And I'm like, y'all, like it just at what point are we going to admit that, like, for instance, mass transit in this country or education or like all of these things where when we leave it up to the individual states, there are individual states that fucking suffer. And guess what? They're almost always red states. They're almost always red states. Like, so at what point are they going to like deprogram enough to see like, and for a long time? Because I agree that we probably are okay for midterms, probably, but I'm concerned about going forward because people have such short attention spans on this kind of thing. Do I think that they would learn? No.
I think we're definitely going to win the House, the Senate, maybe. But I also feel like Democrats are going to be like, yeah, we did this. And they won't continue to learn the lessons that they needed to learn for.
And I'm going to tell you right now, the Democrats aren't doing shit. You know who's doing stuff? You and you and you and the people here watching this. And also just him being so fucking bad at his job. That's it. It's nothing to do with the Democratic Party, really. There are some really good, strong people in it. Like we saw Chris Murphy working hard this week. I posted a video of him and he was communicating how he was trying to force a vote to end the illegal war in Iran. And everybody was like so grateful for him. They're like, thank God, like somebody's doing something. And at least I don't care if it's performative, like you're trying, as opposed to Cory Booker. Got a podium.
Did Chris Murphy have a podium? Because you need a podium.
No. And that's my point. He like went to turn on his video and then he sat back down and he had a conversation with people like in his basement office, like a real fucking
Chris
human.
Murphy came across as authentic. Cory Booker did not. Like that.
He looks like old school politician.
No, I don't trust anybody without a podium.
I'm going to tell you, sorry, just on this note, this to me is if you guys know a Democrat, like that's in service right now, like send this to them, this clip, this specific part. And what I'm going to say is I made this mistake as a teacher when I went in because I was really young, right? And I was teaching like seniors. So they were literally like 3 or 4 years younger than me. And I had to look older and act older. So I was very professional. I also had parents, like my dad taught high school. And because he was also a man, he was very careful about boundaries and like really like a rule follower, like whatever. But that puts kind of a boundary between you and your students. And it makes you sort of it's not that you're not authentic, but you're not relatable and you're not necessarily always approachable and you're not necessarily having the same kind of dynamic that way. Yeah. And I think a lot of these Democrats are posturing themselves as these like political professionals and like getting in front of podiums and wearing ties and doing all this stuff. And we have seen time after time that the Republicans get people in office. Like George W. Bush wasn't just because he was a Bush, right? It's because he seemed like a guy that was like, you could hang out with on the weekends. He was relatable. That was the whole thing. And so even Donald Trump, why do they like him? What's one of the things that they say? He says what's on his mind. And even if that's crude, he's being real with us. And so these people that are pretending to be politicians, that's done. We are so done with the days of people being professionals. Look who's in the fucking office right now. Take off your ties, get rid of the podiums, and sit down and have relatable, authentic, honest conversations with people, because that's what's going to get you elected. Not this barrier of you trying to pretend like you're a professional. Like you need to actually be a professional, and that's by being somebody that people can relate to and approach. Thank you. That is the end of my rant.
So
thank you.
Y'all see this says Trump. This is a quote. I hate mail-in ballots. This was a speech from yesterday. And then watch this.
Trump, not a fan of mail-in ballots. That's putting it mildly, calling it cheating, but providing no evidence. But apparently, it's not cheating when he does it. The president casting a mail-in ballot for today's special election in Florida, and now he's getting called out for it. Some have even labeled him the hypocrite in chief.
We, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt. And you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them because of what's happened. Massive fraud all over the place.
Just lying. Yeah. So, okay. We are going to move on to California. And this has become very clearly a shit show. I don't know how we got to this point, except for the fact. Well, actually, let me play this video for y'all. Because this is a good explainer for everyone watching, because I think this caught everyone by surprise. Because California solidly blue, even though you have 2 Republicans at the top here, we are still solidly blue. So I need you all to watch this.
Less than 3 months ago now, before California's June primary, and the state is faced with a historic, unprecedented possibility. 2 Republicans heading into the November runoff.
It is a scenario that may have just been solidified, according to the latest poll from UC Berkeley.
There are so many Democrats running for governor that they're splitting up the vote, and that could result in the 2 leading Republicans finishing 1 and 2 in June, meaning they would go on, and only them, on to the November runoff. Now, here's the poll of the UC Berkeley Center for Governmental Studies and LA Times. Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco. Hilton, the former Fox News host. Chad Bianco, the Riverside County Sheriff, 1 and 2, followed by 8 Democrats. Eric Swalwell, the Democratic congressman from the Bay Area. Katie Porter of Orange County, former Congresswoman. Tom Steyer, the billionaire out of the Bay Area, in double digits. Then the second-tier candidates, former HHS Secretary Javier Becerra at 5%, former mayor of L.A. Antonio Villaraigosa, 4%. Matt Mahan, he's the mayor of San Jose, at just 4%. Betty Yee, the former controller, at 1%. Tony Thurmond, the superintendent of schools, at 1%. Others undecided, 16%. This has the Democratic Party so concerned, they're putting a poll up for the next several weeks in order to show the candidates how poorly they're doing and try to get a few of them, at least, to drop out in order to solidify solidify the vote for one of the leading contenders. Part of the problem for the California Democratic Party is that these candidates decided to file regardless of their standing in the polls, and therefore, even if they drop out, their name will remain on the ballot, and that alone could inhibit chances of a Democrat making the runoff.
So I need a couple of things I need folks to understand about California, the race here. And Michelle, jump in anytime you want. Michelle's from California. I'm from California. So we have a jungle primary here. And normally you think, oh, it's both parties. We have our nominee. There's no nominee. It's the two top performers end up in the general election. So I don't think anyone predicted, this scenario here, where we ended up with two. And this is not an end game. This is not it over. But it was like, what the F?
Yeah.
It was a wake up call.
I think people really need to. I think we need to start sharing information on what this jungle primary is, because there's a lot of folks that I've spoken to in the last few weeks, who are like, "Oh, who are you picking? Who are you voting for? And we're start having these conversations, and I'm like, we need to figure it out, because we're going to end up, if we don't, we're going to end up with a Republican governor. What do you mean? We're a Democratic state. A jungle primary is basically considered to be a nonpartisan voting system, right? Where the top two, with the most votes, those top two move to the general election. It doesn't matter what their party is. And people are shocked to learn that.
Michelle, you froze. But so what she's saying is we have a jungle primary. The top two candidates go on, and it could be two Republicans. I'm not as worried if we end up with one Republican and one Democrat. The Democrat will win. We're a solid blue state.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing that's really damaging.
Our
law, once you filed and you're on the ballot, you're on the ballot. So all of these candidates can drop out. Their names are still going to be on the ballot. So this has potential to really pull votes away from from any Republican. Eric Swalwell here is the number 3. If some of these people drop out, he or Katie Porter could take those votes, hopefully would take those votes, but nobody's dropping out. So it gets worse. I need y'all to hear this too.
Candidates are set to appear in a gubernatorial debate. Not included among them are the 4 candidates of.
So just real quick, there was supposed to be a debate on Tuesday night that just passed, held by USC. And it was, I'll explain in a second.
Color. The debate is hosted by USC, ABC7LA, and Univision. In a joint statement, they write, "We want to be clear that we categorically, unequivocally deny any allegations that the debate criteria was in any way biased in favor or against any candidate." A USC professor of political science, they say, developed data-driven methodology based on polling, time spent in the race, and fundraising to figure out who the top candidates are. Appearing on stage Tuesday night are Democrats Matt Mahan, Katie Porter, Tom Steyer, and Eric Swalwell, and Republicans Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton. Not invited, Javier Becerra, Tony Thurmond, Antonio Villaraigosa, and Betty Yee.
This was supposed to be based on polling and money raised. Some of us have been able to raise more money and are higher in the polls than a candidate who was invited.
There's particular backlash over the inclusion of Matt Mahan, a late addition to the race, whose campaign has notable ties to USC.
None of us is asking that we be automatically included. We are asking for a fair process, not a predetermined process.
The confrontation over this debate comes just weeks after the chair of the California Democratic Party unsuccessfully called on lower polling candidates to drop out of the race. Democrats fear being locked out of the general election if their oversaturated field splits the vote.
So the other thing is, hold on. So basically you ended up with an all-white stage. All the people of color were not on stage, which, if you look at the lower tier, they're all people of color except for Matt Mahan. who is a white man from San Jose. He's the mayor of San Jose. He entered the race late. And I've seen some polls where he's polling at 1%. This is the one we're looking at because it has the 2 Republicans in the top 2. But he was polling at 1%, and he still managed to get on stage ahead of Becerra, who is by right should have been above him. So like that's where the controversy. Anyway, bottom line, they canceled the debate, so we have no debate in California, which is really criminal.
I don't know if it's worse. Like, I don't know if that makes it worse. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't good when they were excluding
There's a simple
people.
solution: have 2 debates, really 3. They could have had 2 debates, mix up the polling. That way, we get to see them all separate. Then let some candidates continue, and then you have another debate where it's just the top 5. But like, we are a huge state, the largest economy in the United States. We're the largest population. Get our shit together. Like, it's insane to me that this is embarrassing. I mean, Michelle, I don't know. Is your mic working, or is your?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really concerning. And neither the Steve Hilton or Chad Bianco are, I'm not going to lie. You know, I've had moments in my life where I was like, I could vote for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sure. These guys, no. Like, it's saturated. And I don't think people understand. It's because the Republican Party, there's only 2 folks really up there. So that their side is saturated, right? Ours is spread thin. And I don't think people realize that we're just seeing the 8 folks, the Dems here. There's literally like 25 people on Dems that are on the ballot. So folks that are not even polling. So it's just, we need folks to drop out, sure. But like you were pointing to, it doesn't matter. Does it matter now? I mean, they're going to be on the ballot. So I just feel
you're going to have to campaign that much harder.
What we have to do, and I'm going to be working really hard on this. I'm going to try and get some people together to work on it with me. We're going to be talking about how unacceptable these 2 Republicans are, because I don't think people realize. So, for example, I'm going to play y'all this one clip here. Let's do this one first. Actually, this is
I am the antithesis to California state government, because I am going to take a nuclear bomb into that building and absolutely destroy everything that they do to us behind closed doors. President Trump, in 1 year, from 2025, when he took over, till now, did absolutely nothing to harm California. What's harming California is 30 years of Democrat one-party rule that have created.
So he just said he would take a nuclear bomb to Sacramento, basically. I mean, obviously not literal, but
can we back up for a moment?
What's that?
What exactly is it? What is an antithesis?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think he may have meant antithesis.
But okay, so not smart either. Okay, that's the other thing. Here's another clip. This is in 2024. In uniform. So just so folks know who he is, Chad Bianco, Riverside Sheriff, makes a huge salary. He makes over $500,000 a year. That's like
twice
double
as much.
what the governor. What's that?
He makes twice. Well, yeah, it's when you want to compare him to the governor's salary, but he's now making twice as much as the previous sheriff.
Right. He also has the lowest
are 10 times
rate.
worse.
They haven't solved crimes, and they have the lowest crime solving rate in Riverside in the whole state
in California.
I could have told you he was a sheriff just by the mustache. I mean,
people comment on his mustache.
That's a sheriff's mustache.
That's an 1856 sheriff's mustache, and actually, it sounds like his belief system falls back in that.
Well,
wait. It's time to put a felon in the White House.
This is after Trump was convicted. So listen to what he says.
I think it's time we put a felon in the White House. Trump 2024, baby.
This
That
was
is
in
how the
2024.
sheriff, whose
This
job
man
it is,
is
of course,
in
to up.
he's on the job. He's in his uniform and he is campaigning for Trump. This is not.
He's so gross. I'm sorry. He's just so gross.
And then this point, real quick. Someone, Noelle Cook, I'm giving her credit here. So y'all heard he stole, I don't know if you did hear this, but he stole 650,000 ballots, okay, from the last election.
Just a few, just a
and
handful.
He's also an election denier, shocking. But this is a part that people aren't noticing. And the person in here points it out in the chat. Chad Bianco is part of the Constitutional Sheriff's Movement. In this framework, a sheriff's authority flows from God through the Constitution, placing him outside traditional legal constraints and allowing him to decide which laws apply. Seizing an entire county's ballots is consent with that worldview. Red flag. Beyond red flag, like hair on fire.
Hold on. I have more.
This guy thinks he's given.
Which God? Who's God?
I don't care any God. Like, honestly, you are working for the people. Our tax dollars are paying for you. Like,
Are we talking like raw or like what? Like
I was gonna say,
You were
like,
saying something
like
about 1950s. He one of his ads, you guys-
1850s.
I was
But yes.
okay. Well, because one of his ads that he posted literally is of some like some car from the 1950s, some Chevy Bel Air or something. I was just like, come on. Like, I feel like Tim Waltz did that, and it was like, yeah, cool, you're going retro, but this is a whole different thing. Like, if you get a chance
No,
to see
this
it,
is
go check it out.
their entire movement, and I don't know where they're meeting on the weekends to discuss this. I'm afraid to find out, but they are all up into this, like, trad wife, like restoring like life to the time where we enslaved people, because that was like when everybody gave glory to God. It is scary. It is like, it's terrifying.
I don't know where they're meeting, but I know that they use bleach in their laundry. So
Great. Well, maybe they could rub that on their brains and we could just start over, like program them separately.
I'm gonna go out on the limb here and say that that man probably took ivermectin during COVID.
I was gonna say they were just injecting that bleach straight into their veins. Like maybe don't miss next time.
Yeah.
Well, all right, let's move on.
So what is your I just as a recap here. Like, because I get the opposition stuff, and I obviously, I love a good video highlighting the ineffectiveness and the craziness of these two. That's going to be easy and fun for me. But what are your
who's your preferred
is there
candidate?
a time? Yeah, well, not only that, like, is there a timeline? Like, basically,
so the primaries
for
in June.
you.
The
No,
primaries,
but like
literally the first week of June.
Right. So by the end of April,
we need to get on this. Like, I'm gonna be putting something together, rally some folks around, Michelle, Chris, Casey, and everybody else. But anyway, we are gonna be. The thing is, I really think part of the key is to educate people on who these Republicans are, that they're unacceptable. And what I think is important is to leave space for one of these other candidates, one of the blue candidates, to move up in the polls. What shocked me initially, even before I realized that we had two Republican top candidates, was that no Democrat was running away with this. They should be running away with this by now. There shouldn't be much of a contest. So let's try and like educate people. Like Steve Hilton is no better. Like, he's not maybe as crazy, but he's also a right-wing radio.
yeah, like he has no business running the state of California.
Yeah.
He's an ex-Fox host. Okay, so we've got two sides of the coin. We got the crazy and we got the shiny object, right? So
you have crazy, less crazy.
Neither are good. They're both in the let's harm everyone category. Yeah.
Have we not learned our lesson from hiring Fox News hosts and reality TV stars? Like, just can we stop mining our political talent from like people who were failed celebrities or D-list celebrities. My God.
So I think truly what's happening here is Californians aren't like, okay, like Michelle, you were talking to your friend who really did not know what's going on.
Oh, I think that's true. Yeah.
Oh, several. Yeah,
we have
several
to
friends,
educate folks on the
actually.
stakes, educate them on who these candidates are. It is not, you know, I do have an opinion on who I'm picking, but I'm not saying it right now. And honestly, I'm going for whoever isn't the Republican in the end. Like I'm whoever rises to the top before the primary, I'm good. Now I'll say I have some I don't care for on here, and I'm going to say this about Matt Mahan. We're going to keep an eye on him because he sounds like a Republican to me. He like it's not just that he has ties to USC. His big backer is Caruso, the guy that does the malls. Okay. Which is great. He's a billionaire, all that. I get it. But he was also a Republican too. He decided to flip to a Democrat to run for mayor. So
can we just stop with that? Like, like why I have a question real quick about Betty Yee, because I'm not from California, but I cover the politics here and there or whatever. And consistently there are a lot of Betty Yee stands that I see like on social media, but there's no traction that I'm seeing translating, right? Like in terms of
I don't know
support.
why. I don't know why. I will say she was very outspoken about that debate. She was like, she wanted everybody to boycott it. I would say she was from what I saw, she was the most outspoken about it. And I also want to mention USC's statement was really lacking. It was really not a good statement. So I wasn't surprised that it got canceled, but like literally it got canceled, I believe, the night before the debate. It was late the night before the debate.
Yeah.
So just so many things are a mess, and we just need to wake people up in California. They need to understand that this is good info, Michelle.
And also for the people that are watching, people like Chris and Michelle, and there's a lot of other like influencers that live in California that actually are covering this. And so if you can amplify their content, like that's super helpful. Like anybody that you see that's a Californian and talking about this, that's a Democrat is probably on the right side of things. So, or the correct side of things.
Well, and the thing is, we have these, AIPAC people that just, that don't like Eric Swalwell because he has a history. My understanding is he doesn't take AIPAC donations now. He did.
That's
before,
what I care about.
But this is what I need from him. I need him to talk about it. I think we need Democrats to learn how to talk about AIPAC. I personally I'm not good with AIPAC money right now. I think read the room. It's toxic in the Democratic Party. But if you took AIPAC money, if you're taking it now, talk about it. Silence is not okay. If you're
that's historically
money, be transparent and tell us why.
That's the problem, and they need to learn from that because this is not a new issue. So I'm going to need y'all to grow the fuck up because this has happened before, and all the headlines are saying Democrats have an AIPAC problem. They haven't figured out how to handle it, and there's a reason that they've chosen AIPAC, right? This isn't accidental that they've chosen AIPAC as the evil villain here. Not that I'm saying that they're not, but there are a lot of super PACs and evil lobbying groups that we could have gone after,
but focus on AIPAC.
Because they know the Democrats never found their way around Gaza. They absolutely know that the Democrats don't know how to deal with this because they've got an ally in this that isn't really an ally at this point, and that Netanyahu is so fucking problematic, and people don't know how to separate or differentiate the country of Israel with the people and religion and faith with this monster. That's the problem. And so they're exploiting that. And so this is a problem that needs to be addressed. And to go back to my earlier point about being real with people and being authentic, part of that is being honest with your mistakes. And the Democrats are still running from a place of fear. And I need them to shift into aggressive, like proactive movement as opposed to defensive and fearful. Because number one, right now, everybody can see you have an advantage. You're not liked, okay? Because when you actually do the polls, when you run the polls, Democrats are not liked much more than Republicans. But when you look at the candidates that are flipping and how well they are, they're miles away from Republicans. So what does that tell us? That people don't like the Democratic Party, but as an alternative to this fuckery that's happening right now, they're going to support them at least temporarily. So what I need is for the Democrats to say, fuck it, we can go all in now. Like, look at this monster. Like, let's be brave. Let's do the Chris Murphy. Like, watch him. He knows what he's doing. Right? Let's sit down and have these basement talks. Let's get on these lives and communicate with people and be honest. Like, hey, like I took AIPAC money before because I wanted to get elected and try to change things and make the world a better place. And they didn't seem so crazy. And now they are. So I'm not going to take that money. Like, whatever. People are ready to hear that. And I think it would make a big difference, not just in this race, but like broadly across the Democratic Party. Thank you. That was my very impassioned plea.
So something good happened earlier this week in Florida. And
this is so substantially significant because it is Trump's home district. So she is now, he is her constituent essentially. And the Republicans behind the scenes are losing their fucking shit because this is a problem. Like, not only did they flip a district in Florida, and that's never good, but they flipped Trump's district. And I, you know, it's like, I see the way in and like how she did it, but it's still significant and it's still real embarrassing for them. So feel free to talk about this and share this with your friends for a long time to come, because it's a sore spot for the Republicans. And I think it emboldens Democrats to feel a little more confident about some of the races moving forward. Like there's an inroad to the Senate in Florida. I think that exists. I think there's a lot of these seats that like I said, if the Democrats could just sort of light a little bit of a fire underneath them, we could absolutely fight.
I think it's worth mentioning, like, we are considering Florida a red state, you know, and it didn't used to be. It used to be blue, then purple, then, you know, now it's.
I grew up and it was 100% purple.
They've been flipping. This isn't the first seat they flipped. Watch this clip.
He received the president's, quote, complete and total endorsement. Trump also encouraged all, quote, great patriots in the district to vote for Maples. Well, that didn't work so well. It seems like perhaps not as many turned out as Trump would have hoped in a district. Again, he carried by double digits last November. Right now, we're looking at what looks like somewhere a 12, 13, 14-point swing towards Democrats since 2024. Again, in the district that contains Mar-a-Lago, where Donald Trump sent his mail-in ballot that he's been railing against for years, and will now be represented by a Democrat in his backyard.
And a woman.
Yeah.
And a woman.
And a woman.
That can't be understated, y'all, because you know this party, this country, they don't like voting for women. Like, I mean, as much as they would like voting for a man.
Yeah. So this is like one of my favorite things here.
Tonight, Democrats have now flipped 30 state legislative seats across this country since Trump was elected. Republicans, they've flipped zero. None. Democrats are now 30-0. In case a bar graph is helpful in visualizing that, there you go. The latest Reuters Ipsos poll made it clear only 25% of Americans, a quarter of Americans.
Now, let's pause here for a second. Trump's approval is 25% for cost of living. That's the economy. This is what a lot of people feel, besides Gaza, that, you know, Kamala and Biden were kind of together on the economy because she didn't separate herself from that, really. This is what lost Democrats their presidential. So, and he was considered, he ran on the economy. He was considered, you know, to be good on the economy compared to the Democrat. So this is really huge.
Approve of the way Donald Trump is handling our cost of living. Well, 66%, 2/3 disapprove.
So there you are.
Yeah, I can't help it.
Virginia.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, because we're in the call to action section. So just like how California had their Prop 50, we're kind of like, we're flipping, right? Like we did our governor stuff last year and we elected Abigail Spanberger. So the Democrats are in control of everything and like in a big way. So the Democrats, not only are they in control, but they've already passed a shit ton of legislation. Like they've done a bunch of stuff. Like they've raised the minimum wage. They've passed Family Medical Leave Act. Like they've done all these things that like are paid family medical leave. they've done all these things that are actually helping people, and the Republicans are sort of like, fuck. So last week, what is time? I don't know. Last week, Abigail Spanberger shows up in my text message, but it's not really Abigail Spanberger. It's a super PAC that is sending a mailer like this out, and it's Abigail Spanberger saying to vote against the Redistricting Act. So that's like our Prop 50. Like, we're trying to like fix it so that Virginia has 10, well, not super safe, but 10 ways in, like, right? Like 10 districts that could be Democrat and probably would be currently in this system, and 1 Republican. That's a net loss of 4 for the Republicans, which is a big deal. Well, then we did some research because this PAC was like newly developed, and it's a PAC based in Iowa. So it's based in Iowa, and now they've sent out mailers with Obama on it. And I'm like, oh, they're dragging President Obama into this.
Obama's
like,
saying don't vote. Yeah, he's saying vote no.
He is. They twisted his words.
Yeah.
And the thing is that he's like, let the voters decide, not the politicians. Well, that's exactly what this is doing. So like California, our redistricting amendment, like unlike Texas, where they're just like, we're just going to redistrict, like, fuck what y'all think. Ours is going to the people. This is like the people are deciding that they don't like the games Republicans have played. They don't like the fact that the Republicans keep adjusting the rules while we're playing the game. And so this enables the Democrats to shut this down. Listen, if the Democrats can get a majority, they'll put in a no gerrymandering law. They've already tried multiple times, and Republicans will not vote for it. But if we have enough that we could pass something like that, we can stop all this gerrymandering. I mean, for what good it is, because Republicans will still try to do it. But you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I think it's interesting.
They won't have the upper hand.
That's exactly right. And so, like, as with the case of California, I think that Virginians are a little more aware of this, but I don't think that I'm sure they're getting confused about why they're seeing Abigail Spanberger, the governor, the president of the United States, who, by the way, just did a big endorsement of this redistricting amendment and said, vote yes, y'all vote yes. Yeah. He already did that commercial. It's been playing, and now all of a sudden this is out. It's nuts. But anyway, the carpet bagging needs to stop. Like, this whole, why are people in Iowa all up in our business? Like, that needs to stop. So if you know anybody in Virginia, or if you see anything like this, like, if you can, like, remind everybody, the whole reason we need this to pass is so we can stop the Republicans from cheating and doing shit like this. Like, it's gross, underhanded manipulation to confuse people intentionally on purpose, which I don't like. It's one thing. Let the people, like, you're right. Let the voters decide. Stop trying to muddy the waters and confuse people. Let them decide what they want. Stop trying to trick them. That's gross. April the 21st, I believe, but just vote early. That's the other thing. So, by the way, like, as a reminder, because of all the mail-in voting we already discussed, everybody needs to kind of, yeah.
We'll be circling back on that quite a bit. So everybody keep your eye on the SCOTUS ruling when it comes. If voting deadlines are under assault for the mail cutoff, we need to spread the word that people need to vote. In fact, there are groups that are already saying, like, don't trust the mail. Just drop off or vote in person. I think you have to decide that. Personally, I think, like, right now, in California, at least in LA County, I feel very safe with the mail because of our tracking system here. But that doesn't mean forever. Like, if SCOTUS ruling does not go our way, then I'm changing my plans. And I think that's what the key is. Folks have to stay aware of what's going on and be willing to change your plans. And then those of us that are kind of more plugged in, we need to spread the word to our friends, to our family, tell them to spread the word that it's not safe, to use the mail. And I don't think spoiled is the word, but that's the only thing I can think of. We're kind of spoiled in California because it's just everybody gets a ballot. Everybody can mail it in. You can vote in any polling location. It doesn't have to be by your house. It can be by your work. It could be by, the grocery store or whatever. It's very easy to vote in California. Not easy to cheat. easy to vote. And that's the difference. And they want you to believe it's easy to cheat. I have never in my life thought that my vote wouldn't count. Never. And that is and I know not everybody in this country can say that. Like a lot of people in red states, they get fucked with all the time. So this is going to be a little new for us here.
The only good
Yeah, go
thing
ahead.
about the Supreme Court case is that the Supreme Court loves drama, and that means
they
that
do.
they will not drop this decision until one of the last days, if not the last
Yep.
day of decisions,
Yeah.
which means the last day before 4th of July break.
Pay
So
attention
at
to what
least-
Trump says about it, because he might get some early information, and you know how he likes to leak stuff. So if Trump starts talking about it before that might be
Well,
also an indicator.
But at least for California, at least that primary would have passed, and
Yeah, that's true.
and most of the spring primaries would have passed, and then we'll have a lull over the summer to regroup and educate people about what needs
That's a
to be
great
done.
point, Chris. That's
true.
That's a good benchmark to remember that we do have some time, but it's going to take time. It's going to take time and, quite frankly, money to educate people on what to do.
Yeah,
we're going
so-
to need groups that have, the groups that are like well funded to make that a key point if it's needed. Besides us spreading the word,
Yeah.
we're going to need some people to take responsibility here.
Speaking of spreading the word, I don't want to forget, because I didn't put it in the slide deck, that Saturday is the No Kings gatherings. I haven't been using the word protest because I would really like us to reframe what this is. I would like everyone to start looking at this as a way to connect with your community, because this is really what's important about this, is that you show up and meet people and build relations and build coalitions with your immediate community members. Now, if you don't want to go by yourself, so you go with a friend and you go to someone else's neighborhood, that's fine. But pick a neighborhood that has a connection to you or somebody in your group so that you can be meeting these people and getting plugged in. And I think it's great to bring those signs and to see all the people in mass together. I think that that's an important morale boost. I think on its own, that's important. But I also feel like a lot of people are on the internet talking about how, oh, this isn't going to accomplish anything, and like protests are dumb and blah, blah, blah. I don't want you to think about it as a protest, because you're right. It's probably not going to do anything for Donald Trump. But what it will do for you is make you meet your community members that you may not have met before. And there may be opportunities for you to get involved with local organizations and just basically key in with people that you vibe with, exchange numbers, like get a text chain going, a group text. I know those are annoying, but like do it anyway. And like that's what Saturday should be about. Okay, it should be about y'all making community and building those relationships. It's really important that we start that now, because that we are the ones coming to save us, number one. And number two, when Chris is talking about all the work that we have to do, especially in the future, that's how this gets done. Like that's how this happens.
Yeah. My experience with them so far, especially the last one. The first one, the great thing is like everybody sees their signs. There was pretty much like fuck ICE, whatever. Everybody it was like reactionary. And that was also the same weekend that Trump was having his parade. Remember that in DC?
Yeah.
At my No Kings protest, there were a lot of groups organizing to Casey's point, like trying to get people to register, trying to bring awareness to different causes. So I expect more of the same this time, or even, we'll see.
They started having smaller ones too. I wanted to point that out because I think initially they were kind of bigger, but now they started dropping them to be smaller and shorter in some instances. Like ours is a local community 2-hour one. What?
My little town is having one for like an hour. If you guys knew, but the size of my town is like a pinprick.
It doesn't matter. It's good.
In the ocean.
And
I
that's
know,
great.
but to see it on there was I was like, oh, I'm so excited.
I think ours have been short here. Like they've been like 2-hour protests. I mean, people go over, but that's also one of the things I like about it, because I know it's on a Saturday. I can plan So we're in LA County, so you can pick. There's a finder. You can pick one all over the city that meets your radius and then also meets your time. Like I want to do one at 1 o'clock, or I want to do one at 4 because I want it closer to the end of the day. it's really convenient. And the nice thing about that, on media, you really have the whole day of people posting protests because they're all different times and different time zones, right? So it's really great if we can go.
If you're here, hello. If you'd like to send me you're out and about taking pictures, send me your sign pictures. I'll put them in some videos. People love that. I love sharing out political artwork.
There's some great signs.
There's some great signs, and it's great to capture those because people really do go back and watch these videos. I was just talking about this on the call. There are 3 videos that people go back and visit on the regular basis. So one is really all of my No Kings signs, like not one particular, but there's tons of them that people go back and watch, like just randomly. I'll get a bunch of people watching it. I think because it makes them feel better, because they're like, that, you know what, there are a lot of people in community and we do outnumber them, and that's important. And then the other one is the video on Ivana Trump's grave. Anyway, that's just as a side note. That's like the other one.
At our last No Kings, I don't know if everybody has this, and again, we're LA, so it's not that common. But you'll have some MAGA folks in cars. They haven't been brave enough to step onto the sidewalk, but they'll be in cars and they'll give you the finger and they'll, all that kind of stuff, and we curse at them back. It is unity. It is good.
It is unifying. Yeah, I agree. And I think the ones that are in the community also, like, I'm going to take my kids to this one because it's really small. We can walk there. It's like, it's definitely going to be safe, as opposed, like, I wouldn't take them into DC for something like that. Right. Like, this is more of like a unifying, like, we're going to, stand on the sidewalk and wave to people kind of thing. Cause I told you, my kids, like, the fury of Donald Trump is at their elementary school. I didn't do it. I did not do it. They brought this, I hate Donald Trump. That's how my daughter introduced herself to somebody like a couple weeks back. And I'm not kidding. And she also said, fuck Donald Trump. And I'm like, where the hell did she get that from? Like, I swear to God, I didn't do that one. That wasn't me. I'll own it. Like, the other words she says, definitely me. But anyway, that just goes to show you the school that they're at is like 37% military. And I think a lot of people at home are having these conversations. They are fed up.
100%.
And that's where it's coming from.
Yeah. So, well, y'all, we're beyond 2 hours here. So
we went way too long.
So we're here Thursdays at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. I look forward to I don't know what other shit show is going to be hitting the fan between now and then, but I look forward to sharing one of Casey's videos on the protests next Thursday. So everybody, I hope you have a safe weekend and all that. Keep your head up.
I will send me the signs.